All right, I'm back again with another video that no one's gonna watch. We gotta talk about Candace Owens and how she doesn't understand Christianity at all. Now, I watched her most recent episode today, and I am appreciative that she is against the war in general. That's a good thing since she has such a huge platform, even though, you know, doesn't matter how big your platform is, it's not stopping the war. It's not. All we can hope now is that Trump has some magic John G. Trump magic super weapons that are going to somehow stop the war, but I'm not really buying into that. It's possible. It's still possible. Probably would have been more possible if he was still working with Elon Musk, though. All right. So now, I'm not a Christian. I was raised Christian. I'm a deist. But it seems pretty straightforward that Israel and the Christians, they're not exactly best friends. And the fact that she's running cover for Israel and the Jews, not all Jews, but these crazy, messianic Jews or whatever, and then trying to blame all this stuff on pagans who haven't had any like political power since like BC times, basically. Right? Oh, but it's the pagans, though. They're pagans. No, they're not. Now, in my view, the reconciliation of the two views of Trump is that these people are theosophic Satanists. These are people that believe that the Bible is true, the New Testament, the Old Testament. If they're Jewish, they believe the Old Testament is true, but they're on the side of Satan. Like, now, whether or not you believe Satan is real or not depends on whether or not you believe the Bible is true. But you can't you can't be a Christian and be pro-Jewish. That's very clear. And why is that? Because the Jewish people think that the Christians are idiots, right? Think about it. From a Jewish person's perspective, they believe that the Christians believe in a false Messiah. They believe that Jesus was basically just some dude that was born from a single mom and had some good things to say, some cool stuff to say. And maybe he did a few magic tricks, right? Because he's not the real Messiah, right? So for you to run cover and say, "Oh no, it's not Jews, it's the pagans." Oh, the Freemasons, they're pagans, even though they have the Jewish star, right? Oh, you can say it's the seal of Solomon, whatever. Solomon was Jewish in the Bible. All of the Old Testament, everybody in the Old Testament was Jewish. They were all Jewish. Right? And so the people that believe that they need to work with Israel it's a contradiction. You can't believe that Jesus is the Messiah and also that the Jewish people are right. Either the Jewish people are completely insane and they missed the boat to get onto the Jesus train, the Jesus boat, right? Or you have to believe what the Jewish people believe, that the Christians are stupid and they got tricked by a false guy that was just some guy that was born by a single mom that didn't want to take accountability, right? Because she basically like cheated on her husband and she made up a story about being touched by God so that she didn't get kicked out of the village, right? But you can't believe both of these stories at the same time. It's just not possible, right? And so if you believe in the Bible, the Old Testament, the New Testament, then you've got to pick one of these stories. You got to pick either the Jewish version of the story or the Christian version, right? You can't. And so if you believe the Christian version, then that would mean that the Jews are basically Satanists because they didn't get on the Jesus train. And so that whatever they worship now is not actually God. And to a Christian, if you worship something other than the true God, then you're a Satanist, right? Just basic Christian 101, right? You don't believe in the Christian God that you can only get to through Jesus, then you're a Satanist. You can say they're pagans, whatever you want to call it, right? But the pagans, I don't think they're included in this because they don't believe in the Bible. So it's not the same thing. You could say, yeah, they're Satanists, blah, 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 whatever, because they don't believe in, God through Jesus. But the problem is if you're claiming to be a Christian, then you have to acknowledge that the Jewish people don't worship the same God as you. And in fact, they think that you're an idiot, right? Because what would you call somebody that believes in a false Messiah, that was tricked by a false Messiah, and then for 2,000 years, your people went along with the trick of the false Messiah? I mean, what would you call that type of people, right? So one of the two has to be true, right? Either the Jewish people are right, and then they got to rebuild the third temple to bring back their Messiah, or the Christian people are right, and Jesus is the dude that you have to follow, and you have to follow his teachings, right? But you can't say, oh, well, no, it's not the Jews. It's not Jewish people. It's the pagan, occultist, da-da-da-da-da. No. We can see the Hebrew mysticism. We can see the Kabbalah. You can see the Talmud, whatever, right? So, to me, it's just another cover story where it's like, okay, well, don't worry about actually saying it's Israel working with insane Christians that believe this contradictory story that both the Jewish version and the Christian version are both true. Right? Or you can be like an actual Catholic or an actual Orthodox Christian or some cool Protestants that understand that it's like it's either got to be the Jesus story or the not the Jesus story, right? And everybody else is a Satanist, right? But it can't be, oh, no, but it's those pagans that are secretly pretending to be Bruh. The Jewish people actually think that you're stupid. They think you're stupid. Just by definition, by someone following a fake Messiah for 2,000 years, that would mean that you're stupid. Or the Jewish people are actually basically theosophic Satanists because they're worshiping some type of deity that's not the true God. Because if you're a Christian, then you believe that the true God did the New Testament, the New Covenant, in order for everybody in the world to convert to Christianity. It's pretty simple. I'm not a Christian. I can get it. Like, if you believe in the Bible and you believe that it's true, then one of these two stories is not like the other. Right? So you've got to pick one. Because otherwise, you're just as bad as the Zionist neocon people who believe both stories. They're playing both sides. They're like, oh, well, when we go to the Christians, we'll say we believe in Jesus. And then when we're getting donations from Israel, then it's like, oh, we got to rebuild a third temple to bring back their Messiah. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. It's either their Messiah or your Messiah. But if you want to try and blame it on the pagans, and the pagans don't even believe in your story at all, they're not even in your thing. They're not even in that framework. right? And look, I'm not trying to pick on Jewish people or anything like that, but come on, man. I mean, you guys let Ben Shapiro run wild on the internet talking about hip hop isn't really music, and we gotta tamp down on all the black criminals everywhere, and the black people are so violent, and this and that, and they're the leaders of the crime, bruh. Get out of here with that. Like seriously, seriously. You want to start a war? You want to blow up an entire country? For what? Is it for money or is it for religion? Right? At this point, it would almost be better if it was for money, because then at least there'd be some way out. You could be like, well, look, we can make money some other way. We can get money some other. We could do the stock market, or we could do this, or we could do business. Right? You could keep selling hip hop and only promoting people that, talk about murder and selling drugs like you've been doing. Right? And then when Kanye West talks about it, then you go, oh no, we got to cancel him. Right? No. No. Right? What happened to that? Right? This is what I'm saying. Now all of a sudden it's not the Jews. Now it's pagans. It's pagans. Like pagans haven't been in charge of anything since whenever, 2,000 years ago, when the Romans converted to Catholicism. And then they created like the Holy Roman Empire, and then the Byzantine Empire, right? And then the Muslims took that over. And then we went into like, medieval times, and then the Renaissance, and then basically all the way up to like World War II. And then we put the Jewish people back in Israel to start the whole war all over again in between them and the Muslims. And like, at least do your own religion. Like, do your own religion. Like, if you're going to believe in Jesus, just be like, okay, look, everybody that doesn't believe in Jesus is a Satanist. They're all Satanists, right? If they don't believe in Jesus, then they're Satanists. I can get behind that if you're saying, oh, pagans are Satanists, and Jews are Satanists, and Muslims are Satanists. That makes sense. But if you're like, oh no, but the Jews, it's not the Jews. It is. It is. I'm not saying it's all of them, but it's Israel. It's Israel, and it's these crazy Zionist people that want to rebuild the third temple, and they're competing with Jews, thinking that somebody's going to bring back somebody's Messiah. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, just study your own religion for like 2 seconds and then make some inferences. Like, okay, well, if the Jesus story is right, then that means that the Israeli story is not right. Or the Israeli story is right, and that all the Christians are basically dupes that have been duped by some dude who was born from a single mom who didn't want to take accountability for cheating on her husband. And I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but those are the two stories, right? Those are the two competing stories that we have going on here. I don't hear a lot of Jewish people saying, oh no, but you know what? The Christians, they're kind of right too. Jesus, he's really the Messiah. They're not saying that. No, they're not saying that. They're saying we need to rebuild the third temple to bring back our guy. Can't we just look at it and see what's happening, right? We're working together. We're working with them. We're right now, we've been suckered in to this whole situation to where now we're basically bound at the hip with Israel in a war against everybody else in the world. And so either we got to all become Jewish, or they got to all become Christian or something, or go our separate ways. But to me, it's like I was cool with, having Christian leadership in the United States. I just didn't think we were gonna do the whole global like crusade thing and blow up every country in the world. Right? That's not already Christian. I don't know. I don't know. But what was clear is that they're not pagans. They're not pagans. The Goetia is Jewish mysticism. The golem is Jewish mysticism. Rebuilding the third temple is Jewish mysticism. It's not pagan mysticism. What pagan group? Name a pagan group that believes that the Jewish Messiah is going to come back when they rebuild the third temple. Just name one. The Odin followers, all the people in Africa that don't even know that the Temple of Solomon even exists. What, the Chinese pagans, the Taoists, the Buddhists, the Hindus? Which pagan group? Right? The people that believe in like Thor, the Celtics. Are they the pagans that also believe in rebuilding the third temple? Or is it the Jewish people? Are the Jewish people the ones that believe in rebuilding the third temple? Right? And the Jewish people believe in weird geometric magic stuff and the Temple of Solomon and the Keys of Solomon, right? Oh no, it's the pagans. The pagans. You gotta be scared of the pagans. Bro. Like I said, if you're consistent and you're like every other religion is Satan besides Jesus and God, I can get behind that. But if you're gonna sit there and be like, oh no, it's not the Jews. Come on guys. Come on guys. Just it's not the Jews. It's the pagans. Pagans don't believe in that. Pagans believe in like going to like Valhalla after like dying in battle. Or like the Africans believe in like animal spirits and stuff like that. And you know, the Chinese and like other Asians believe in like Taoism and Buddhism. It's not even like a specific thing. The Hindus, Buddhism or Hinduism, right? I don't see a lot of like Indians like trying to rebuild a third temple. Or some like, you know, Greek Dionysian cult. Or like one of the hedonists or whatever, right? Or even like some Aristotelians. What? Oh, the Aristotelians are going to rebuild the third temple? Like, come on. Like, let's be real here. Just stop it. Just stop it. All right. That's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you did, have a good day and peace.